Hi everyone. Let's talk about this AEW Collision November 15th episode. This was a fun show. Let's talk about it, guys. The Death Riders arrived from the opening match, and Daniel Garcia slaps the headsets off of Matt Menard, and their fists were flying. And once they were separated, John Moxley suits on commentary about losing blood and guts, and Moxley brushes it off, and he looks at it as a positive that AEW wrestlers are finally digging deep to get the best out of themselves, and the Death Riders will keep coming back, and they are about to since with no load mentionment, and Moxley sticks around on commentary for the show, which was awesome. Was freaking awesome having John Moxley on commentary. I'm telling you, you have John Moxley on commentary. It is fun to have Moxley on commentary. Moxley, I'm telling you, Moxley and Bryan Danielson together as in the future, if because we know Tony Giovanni is going to retire one of these days from being on commentary, and Nigel McGuinness and all these other people. But imagine if the future is Wheeler Yuta, John Moxley, and Claudio Castagnoli, or one of the Death Rider members as the commentary people for that company. Just imagine that. Just imagine them on commentary for Dynamite and Collision. Oh, it would be sick. I'm telling you, it'd be so sick hearing them in a good way. I mean, as sick in a good way. I mean, in a good way. It'd be so sick, bro. Like, so good. That's what I'm saying. Not like to the part saying, oh, it'd be so suck, bro. Oh, it would be garbage, bro. No, I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying sick, like, it'd be awesome, bro. Like that. But anyways, guys, let's carry away, brothers and sisters. I like saying bro a lot. I'm sorry that I say bro. That's a Vince Russo thing, but carry away. So Pac and Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia defeat Jay Legal and Tommy Billington and Adam Priest. Let's talk about it, guys. This was a fun opener. Let's talk about it. So Jay Legal shrinks down the strength for a figure four on Pac, and Daniel Garcia risks Jay Legal's eyes to break the hold, and Jay Legal went for the legal ejection, but Pac pushes Adam Priest in front to take the maneuver. Then Pac slaps the brutaler on Jay Legal for the win as Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia handle Adam Priest and Tommy Billington onto the outside. Then the full gear challenge, watching Darby Allin burn, was Pac's since a Pac, and then Pac knows Darby will want revenge and that it's no skin out of balls. Oh my goodness, ball sacks, and then Pac pursues a match for the pay-per-view so he can show that Darby is not his league in his league. I'll say it again, guys. Pac pursues a match for the pay-per-view so he can show that Darby is not in his league, which we already talked about that stuff. And then Kyle Fletcher defends the TNT title against Mark Briscoe. We talked about that, guys, already about that review, Full Gear. But Mark Davis doesn't think Mark Briscoe will make it to that match, which he did. And Mark Davis warns the Chicken Man that the word of the day is dinner, and Mark Davis makes hungry noises, and Kyle Fletcher has Scorpio Sky tonight and his roll up stop. Also, again, he has a match with Scorpio Sky. That night he had a match with Scorpio Sky, which was a fun match. We'll talk about that, guys. And his roll up, and also in his roll, and his I said roll up, and his roll stop. Also again, and his rolled stop, and his rolled stop for nobody. And then Tony Storms was forced to watch the villains massacre Mia Shirakawa, who is not cleared, and revenge is coming. And Tony Storms has a lust. I'll say it again, a lust for revenge. I'll say it again, a, a lust for vengeance. I'll say it again, lust for vengeance, and the show must go on. And doesn't beg God for mercy because he's a huge fan of her work, which was awesome. That was freaking awesome. That was so awesome. That whole promo right there saying, "Do not beg God for mercy because he's a huge fan of her work." That was awesome. That part was so good in my opinion. That was so good. Then we had Mark Briscoe versus Mark Davis. Two marks. Two marks. You know what I'm saying? The name Mark. And then hard hitting action. And Mark Davis, since Mark Briscoe looks meat for dinner, and Mark Briscoe returns fire as good as he got. And the story was the Froggy Bow, and the third time was the charm. And Mark Davis blocks the first, then he rolls away for the second. In the end, Mark Briscoe knocks Mark Davis off the turnbuckle and assists on the Froggy Bow for the win, and that's how he won. And then Christopher Daniels gets a peep talk for Scorpio Sky. The last few years hasn't been easy for Sky, but he knows that defeat comes for all. I'll say it again. He knows that defeat comes for us all. Comes for us all. And then Kyle Fletcher defeats comes from the Sky. And then Josh Alexander beats up Michael N backstage with an ankle lock. And then Josh Alexander is sense of destruction for the Don Callis family. And this is fun for him. What do you think that he would do to Kenny Omega with the $1, you know what I'm saying, and all that stuff, which we already seen that and we already talked about that, guys. As fans, I already talked about it with you guys tonight. That was my first video for the night. But yes, guys, you all remembered that the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander won that match and stuff. But anyways, then Josh Alexander hammers Michael N, and that's what happened. Then we had this match. Okay, Tony Khan. So we're going to have Tyler Valkyrie in 2-minute matches in AEW. Give her freaking 7 to 10 minutes. Not 2, 7 to 10. But anyways, let's go on to this. Talk about this freaking dang match with Ty Mello and Tyler Valkyrie. It wasn't good in my opinion. It was bad. Sorry, that's just my opinion. I don't like squash matches. If that's you and you like that kind of crap, that's your opinion. But to me, it's freaking garbage. But let's talk about it. So Jim packed offense in a short match, and Ty Mello beats up the whole group and finishes Tyler Valkyrie on a gory special knee strike. Then commentary mentions that Etta J was sick at home after this match, and Maria Shafir runs in to choke Ty Mello, then choke out at Tony Storms, who trucked over Tyler Valkyrie, and then Tony Storms drop kicks Maria Shafir and plants her on a pile driver. The aftermath was a little bit funner than the match. At least the aftermath was cool. Then we had a great match. Kyle Fletcher versus Scorpio Sky. This was a good match. Oh man, boom, 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 great stuff. Let's talk about it. And Kyle Fletcher retained the TNT title, which you already know that, guys. But this was good. Let's talk about it. So the match was really competition. This match was really competition, guys. And then Kyle Fletcher boots Christopher Daniels and flexes his muscles. And then Sky bounds since attacked the knee and head. And then he scores a slingshot cutter on the apron and falls by a flying DDT. And Kyle Fletcher founds his second win to sorts for a Falcon arrow and running knee in the corner, and then a brainbuster to win. And that's what happened. And then after the match, Mark Davis pummels Scorpio Sky and Top Flight and Mark Briscoe to make the save. And Mark Briscoe hypes the pay-per-view match, and Kyle Fletcher denies any Don Callis family involved in the blood and guts attack on Mark Briscoe. And then Kyle Fletcher is one title defense away from breaking the record with the TNT title, and he will do that by beating Mark Briscoe, which we all know that didn't happen. And then the Tailgate pre-show will have a 200,000 four-way tag match. We talked about that already, guys. And that's not near enough money to make Anthony Bowens happy about tagging with Matt Caster. And the only thing they can agree on is not wanting to be together. Juice Robinson and Austin Gunn will win since the money into their 401k. Then Big Bill and Brian Keith will put the money on the street. And then the Outrunners have the prize to win the prize. I'll say it again. The Outrunners had the size to win the prize, and that's what happened right there, guys. Then we had Riho and Alex Winters defeating Iron and Maiden Ruled. This match was a little bit fun, guys. I'll give props to Iron and Maya Rolls, because at least they love this promotion. They love AEW. They didn't walk out like freaking Tiger Knox, known as Tiger Knox, Nixon Newell, and the other one, Maria Ellie, I think that's how you pronounce her name. Mira Ellis, and freaking Nixon, Newell, they talk so much smack about AEW, saying, "Oh, we should have had more time and all of this and all of that and yada yada yada," having disrespect, you know. But it is what it is. But I still hope the best for them, even though they were crappy towards AEW. I still hope the best. But AEW fans on here, don't wish freaking stupid shit to them. Don't wish freaking all that crap. I hate when people do that freaking shit to wrestlers because they bust their ass for our entertainment. They bust their ass for our entertainment. That's all I got to say for my rant on that one. But anyways, let's carry this match with Io and Alex Winters facing Iron and Maya Rolls. So warm up for the women's tag team title tournament, and the match was given more than 3 minutes, but the favorites were never really trouble, and in a teamwork maneuver since the deal, and Riho jumps on Rolls for a crucifix position, and then Alex Winters pounds a clothesline for a crucifix bomb by Rio. Then afterwards, 20 Storms apologized and sits on the big screen. So I'll say it again, guys. That's how Alex Winters and Rio won, with a pound and a clothesline for a crucifix bomb by Rio, and that's what happened. And then afterwards, 20 Storms apologized in advance of the big screen, and they will meet the first round. And Storms and Mia are on a rocky road to revenge, and no women can stop them, and they can search Riho and Alex Winters to not be an non-sexual friend, but they will rip their heads off and shit in their head bags and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying, guys? Then a video package of Kyle Fletcher resents on his blood and gut win, and Moxley almost end O'Reilly's career on a neck injury a few years ago, and Kyle O'Reilly wants a game to wrestle Moxley again to prove that wasn't a fluke. And Moxley resents at the crowd chanting that he tapped out. You tapped out. You tapped out, and all that stuff. Then Moxley downplays the loss, and O'Reilly and the Conjuration are not built like the Death Riders and try to do it again anytime, any place. Then Ty Mello didn't want 20 Storms butting in unless she asked for help and made no mistake. And Ty J will kick 20 Storms' head off to win the tag titles. As for Maria Shafir and Ty is the Mosins to the problem, and they will finish this in the tournament. Then we had Jet Speed, Juice Robinson. I'll say it again. Jet Speed, Juice Robinson, and Bandito defeating FTR and Roosh and Semi Guevara, which this was the main event, guys. And this was a fun main event, even though it was a all-star main event. It was still a fun match. But like I said again, Tony Khan needs to slow down with those things. Tony Khan needs to slow down with those things. That's just my opinion. He needs to do more one-on-one matches or two-on-two matches, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion, guys. But if you like these four ways, I like them too. But we need to focus more on, match with the women. I'm sorry, but I'd be so shocked if Tony Khan would give us 5 women matches on television, just straight, like 5 women's matches. Like you get boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my opinion, guys. I love women's wrestling. I think it's the best thing in wrestling. You know what I'm saying? I think women's wrestling is the best thing in wrestling, in my opinion. And I know there's going to be people saying, "Oh, why do you like women's wrestling? It's boring." How in the is it boring? How in the is it boring? I want you to tell me. I want you to prove me wrong, you trolls. I want you to prove me wrong. How are they boring? How are they boring? It's boom, 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 boom. Good stuff. Good stuff. Sorry, but carry away. Non-stop pace of action in the All-Star main event, and Bandito and Roosh have strength and change, and they were involved in the finish, and Roosh rolled up Bandito, and the masked man kicks out to send Roosh colliding into FDR, and Roosh was sent for a second, and that was the opening, and Bandito needs for the 21 plex and wins, and that's how Bandito and Juice Robinson in the Jet Speed defeated FDR and Roosh and Semi Guevara. So that's what happened, guys. And I gave this collision an 8 out of 10, guys. It was a very good collision. I gave it an 8 out of 10. So don't forget to like the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel and hit those notification bells as always, guys. And yes, this collision was very fun in my opinion. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit those notifications bells as always, guys. And this is CJD 2006, Christopher Jackson, Denver 2006. And much love, guys. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit those notification bells as always. And much love. Peace out and take care.